Hi, my name is Ginger Mint Pepper, and today I'm gonna tell you everything you need to know about the Village of Treasures event happening in Touken Ranbu right now. Um, the date of recording for this video is the 5th of June 2021, and the Village of Treasure event runs until the 15th. So there's still quite a lot of time left in the event as of the time of this recording. Now, I kind of want to go over the basics of one, why you should care about this event, and two, if the sorts of units that you will need. So this is an event for the Gou Brothers. They're a really interesting group of swords who all have their own specialties. They all have their own unique styles. They all have their own unique styles, and as brother units go in Touken Ranbu, they're some of the most interesting. Just by route of they came out of the gate and decided to be an idol group. I know there's a lot of jokes about Midare and Awata 48 after the Hanamaru anime, but Kotagiri, who is the littlest Gou brother, decided that he wanted to sing and dance, and by God is he going to do it. Apart from that, and apart from getting those particular swords, there are a lot of rewards to be earned from the Village of Treasure event. We're talking help tokens, we're talking koban, we're talking gold units. There's so much resources to get at so many different points in times. Dango, bento, phonographs, which in the English release don't really have a use as of now, but after about a year of playing that, or if you take a particularly long absence, you get special voice recordings from your swords, and phonographs give you the ability to listen to those, which is really nice. And of course, of course you also get survey recall pigeons, which there are some surveys that can take upwards of 24 hours to complete. And of course the rewards are incredible, but sometimes just the thought of having your sword out for that long, even if you have more than enough units to spare for that kind of thing, can be really intimidating. So having survey recall pigeons is always like a nice thing to have on hand. A lot of these things are usually items you can only get by paying money. So this is an excellent free-to-play event for giving people who don't really have the resources or whose currency isn't eligible on the Janran website to be able to get all of this really cool exclusive stuff. Look at this omamori, a big Makinochi bento, standard of Fuda for when you're forging, and at 30,000 beads, you're able to get your first ghost sword, which is Kotagiri. And Kotagiri is the only sword on this list who is available from the front lines. Now that's the other thing, the Gou Brothers are not available in either the front lines or for forging. These are all event exclusive swords, and to be able to get all of them in one event like this is incredible. Honestly, the grind to the first 30,000 is the most demanding thing about the entire Village of Treasure grind overall. After that, every 10,000 beads you get another brother. So at 40,000 you get Buzen. At 50,000, look at all of those rewards. At 50,000 you get Matsui, who is my personal favorite. And if you're as you can see, you're also getting travel kit, travel guards, and letter sets, which are Kiwame sets, to send your boys out and have them come back as Kiwame sources. Again, is so good. At 60,000 Kawana, 70,000 Samidare, and at 80,000 Murakumo. Now, my advice is to stop at 80,000 or stop at whichever Gou Brother is the one you want the most. I know a friend of mine, she just wanted Buzen and is going towards Kawana at her own pace now that she has him. Personally, the Gou Brothers I wanted most were Matsuri and Samidare, so I'm still on my grind to get Samidare. I do not care about Murakumo. I could get him, I can't. I don't really care. I don't like Murakumo. Now that we've gone over that, I kind of want to go over the sorts of units you should be using in this event. So you would notice that the Village of Treasure event has 4 difficulties in it: easy, normal, hard, and extreme. The most worthwhile difficulties to do are hard and extreme. And you should use different team comps between hard and extreme, and I'll tell you why. On hard, you should have at least one Otachi on your team, and that is to act as a bit of a buffer, really, because Otachi tend to have very high leadership and very high attack. If you take a look at my Taratachi, his leadership and attack is just through the roof. And these are swords that I leveled up during the last Underground Treasure Chest event. So, you know, they're all fully maxed out, fully refined. Their stats, I think the only thing most of them don't have is full HP and full recon. And that's just because I tend to use my duty for getting new outfits rather than maxing out stats, and I'm not ashamed to admit that. But yeah, the only person on this squad who comes close to Taratachi's leadership is Amaru. And we will get to that in a second. You can use Otachi really easily in hard. Your sword level should be around 70 to 90 to have the best time doing like grinding on hard. But if you have swords that are in their late 60s, that's also acceptable. Your Otachi can be the lowest level sword on your team. If you're doing 50s, that would be pushing it. You're gonna have a really difficult time doing anything other than normal with level 50 swords. And for extreme, which I've heard a lot of people talking about, oh, you definitely need Otachi, you definitely need all of your swords to be level 99. My swords happen to be level 99, and that's just because I don't have a life, so I grind endlessly in this game. But your swords don't need to be. I've actually been using the Village of Treasure event as grinding, because you do get decent experience at hard and extreme. And talking about extreme, I find the best team to use for grinding this map. Don't include Otachi at all. Instead, get a team of very competently leveled Tachi who all have decent stats, because you need the speed boost in order to outspeed things like the Yari, things like the Uchigatana, things like Naginata, the Otachi. With an Otachi, you're overall mobility stat is going to be much lower. 1 and 2, you are gonna be taking damage from units when you really shouldn't be. There are some fights, so long as you're not on like enemy level 2 or 3, where you're gonna be taking damage when it's perfectly it's perfectly acceptable to not take any at all, you know. So my team for grinding on extreme has been Touken Ranbu, Tachi, Ichigo, Shokudai Kiri, Higakiri, Kogetsunamaru, and Hizumaru. Now don't be fooled by this. When I started this event, Shokudai Kiri, Touken Ranbu, Tachi, Kogetsunamaru, they were all in their 70s or somewhere around there. And they were part of a different team with Monoyashi, Jirotachi, and who was my other member? I think I swapped that other member to like fit whatever I needed on my team at the time. So Tachi tend to have very high stats overall. These particular Tachi are a mix between really good defense, like you saw with Ichigo, Hikafuri, and Hikakuri, and a lot of mobility. Another thing is that recon, your recon stat isn't as important here as it was during the underground castle event, and that's a huge thing because Tachi do not have the best Tachi definitely don't have the best recon stat, but it's very rare that I fail scouts in this. Maybe unless I'm going up against a team of Wakizashi or a team of Tanto. Now, getting into the actual Village of Treasure event, the entire event is comprised of branching paths like this. This is a Hanafuda event, which I absolutely love. I love Hanafuda cards. I think they're so pretty. But you're getting a lot of information from the cards that are on your screen. Both of these correspond with the basic section at the bottom of the card, at the bottom of the screen here. Now, this is important because these all tell you which combos your cards correspond to. You don't have to remember anything in this game except to memorize what the enemies look like, and you should probably already know what they look like. When you have a case like this where both cards correspond to the same combo, the only decision left to make is what team you want to face. Do you want to fight the Uchigatana or do you want to fight the Otachi? I'm going to fight the Otachi because I know that I can reliably outspeed them, and Otachi tend to have less troublesome troops equipped than Uchigatana. Uchigatana tend to have guns, which does a lot of damage to your troops. Like that. Okay, I got unlucky. Usually Otachi have catapults, which does good damage, but it's usually like really negligible. Another thing I want to talk about is troops. You don't need to have all gold troops for all of your team members, but you should at least have some. I think the only member I don't have gold troops on is Cooking Denjin Otachi, and that's because I keep forgetting to give him new troops. He actually even has like a bronze heavy cavalry. Speaking of, recommended troops for this event, if you ask me, are definitely heavy cavalry and light cavalry units. You want to have as much speed and attack as you can possibly have. You also really want to make sure that you equip horses to all of your members if it is possible. I'm getting very unlucky with the troops in this one. Then again, I did pick Uchigatana, and I know that they usually have Gunners. But look at that, look at that. Oh, those are Wakizashi. Jeez, okay. That's even better. Wakizashi are usually very speedy, but you know, a good team of Tachi, um, a good team of Tachi, man, they can go far. Uh Now, important things to note in this event: your swords cannot be destroyed. I'm very unpanicked about the amount of damage that's happening on screen right now, even though it is a lot, because your swords can't be destroyed in this. If a sword is severely damaged, uh, they simply kind of quietly retreat until you get a combo that replenishes Touken Ranbu HP. And that's the other thing that I want to talk about. Touken Ranbu, or the cards and the card combos have a lot of effects that are very useful if you manage to complete a particular set. For example, let's just have it pull up. The 5 lights, 4 lights, and 3 lights set all replenish Touken Ranbu HP. M Sake, F Sake, and the scrolls all replenish troop HP. The 5 lights, 4 lights, and 3 lights combos are also the most valuable ones you can get. They give the most amount of beads, which contributes to having the most amount of overall points at the end of it. It is so satisfying watching them just run through Itachi teams like it's nothing. God. Katsugeki should have starred these guys. The Itachi and that wouldn't have even been a problem. Now that we have formed a combo, look at that. See, Touken Ranbu HP healed by a little. Now that we have formed a combo, we're gonna get to see the other part of this event, which is choosing between Agari, which is the one in red here, and Koi Koi, which is the one in blue. Now, Koi Koi lets you continue playing so long as you have action points. You see I have 3 action points up at the top of my screen here. Koi Koi lets you keep playing, but it increases the level of the enemy difficulty by 1 stage. Now this takes the form of them having more troublesome troops, them having sometimes more speed, more attack. They're overall going to be more ferocious. But it also gives you more cards as a reward after defeating them, which means more chances to get combos at the bottom of your screen, which means more beads, which means more points, which is more bang for your 10-point buck. Agari is sort of the option you want to choose if you don't want to play anymore. You think that you've collected enough beads, and you just kind of want to get back to the citadel because maybe you have something you want to do, or you think that it's getting too risky and you just kind of want to defer before you end up losing altogether. There's also a really cool thing this event does. It's very forgiving. In between battles, on the menu where you can either continue your sortie, heal your team, or return to the Hanmaru, if you choose to return to the Hanmaru voluntarily, then all of the beads that you've collected throughout your run are going to stay like that. So it's not an event where if you decide to retreat, you're gonna lose everything. No, if you collect 500 beads and you decide, okay, that's enough, I don't want to risk this anymore, you can return to the Hanmaru and you will keep all of the rewards that you managed to amass, which is really, really forgiving, especially when you're playing on extreme or on hard, because sometimes you're going to run into enemies that you really don't expect, or your team is going to get much more battered than you expected, and you really don't want to risk. um, if it comes down to a choice between risking everything, and walking away with nothing, or just kind of gracefully bowing out and being able to keep your rewards, you should always choose being able to keep your rewards, especially because I know a lot of people didn't expect the Village of Treasure event, and so they spent a lot of the koban that they got doing ooh, look at that. Pop off, Shokidaikyori. Pop off. Um, they spent a lot of the koban that they got during the Underground Treasure event on backgrounds, on clothing, um, because the leaks for the June event calendar came pretty late into the Underground um, Treasure Castle event. This was a really good turn. Look at all of those combos. It's so satisfying. It's so satisfying. Gorgeous. Um, Now at this point in time, if I wanted to, I could definitely return to the Hanmaru. I would pocket 444 beads. That's really good. For a turn in extreme. However, I'm greedy. Um, I won't do koi koi, because after level 3 it's going to be max difficulty, and because my team is already pretty beaten up, I don't want to take that risk and end up losing the battle, which the only way that you're gonna lose the only way that you're gonna properly lose a match in this is if you lose a battle, or if your leader sustains severe damage. Oop, oop, it popped again. It popped right before he got bodied. Oh, you got your hero moment, Shokudai Kiri, it's fine. Right, I got a victory beat there because 2 of my units were incapacitated. But really, the only way for you to lose in this event is if you lose a battle, which only happens which can only happen if you lose more units than you incapacitate, or if you do less damage than your enemy, or if your leader takes severe damage, because then you are forcibly returned to the Hanmaru. Um, and at that point, you're going to lose a significant amount of whatever beads you collected, and it's just not going to be a fun time because you're basically going to be going with your tail between your leg and none of the rewards to show for it. So as much as possible, try to be smart about how you're using try to be smart about how you balance your team's health and the option of a graceful retreat, especially when you're doing it on extreme difficulty. It's gonna be really tough, I know, especially for a lot of people who don't have high level troops, or high level swords, let me say. But hard is also a viable option. You can also grind on hard. It is much more forgiving than extreme. The enemy difficulty levels and jumps are not that bad, but you do definitely want to have a high level Datachi on your team, whether that is Hitaru Maru, Taratachi. I had pretty good luck with Jiratachi. You might struggle a bit with Ishikiri Maru because of his speed. Yeah, Ishikiri Maru's speed does not make him a very fun unit to use in events like this. Other miscellaneous things are just the fact that you can replenish your passes with Koban. I have obviously used a lot of Koban to get to where I am right now. I don't think this event is doable without Koban. At the very least, it's very, very difficult to get what you want within the allotted koban, because they do only give you like one full replenishment every 24 hours. Or did I pick it now? They do give you only one full pass every 24 hours, like three every 12 hours. And that's really difficult because you don't have a say in what swords or what cards you're gonna run into, and your luck with things like troops, what combos are available to you, whether you're able to remember cards and their placement, all of those things it's highly variable, and only having 3 passes every 12 hours is really cruel. um, it's kind of cruel because it's the bead requirements are a bit steep, especially that initial grind to 30,000 to get Kotagiri is gonna feel like forever, trust me. Um, if you do have Koban left over from the underground treasure chest, you're in luck, you're balling, you're absolutely going to laugh at this event. Um, just make sure to spend it responsibly. I usually only do 3 replenishments a day, and that's worked for me thus far because I'm almost to my goal. I don't need to complete the entire event, especially because they stop giving additional rewards after you hit Murakumo, if I'm not mistaken. Like, they give you a lot of rewards in between, but after you hit Murakumo, the only rewards you get are at every 10,000 with dupes of the swords. And I don't need dupes of the swords, it's fine. That kind of thing is really just for clout. I don't intend to break any of I don't intend to break any of my ghost swords. I love them too much, except Murakumo. He can shimmy off into the corner. Um but that about covers it for what you need to know about the Village of Treasure event. If you have any questions, be sure to ask them in the comments of this video. And happy hunting! I hope you all are able to get the swords of your dreams. Bye!